Bass and Rankin made many classic holiday specials in their day, with their most famous output obviously being their many stop-motion Christmas specials. But they did do specials centered around other holidays too, even if they aren't nearly as remembered. And one of their more notable examples of this is their 1977 Easter special, The Easter Bunny is Coming to Town, which obviously borrows its overall concept from their earlier classic Christmas special, Santa Claus is Coming to Town, complete with having Fred Astaire reprise his iconic role of the mailman narrator to tell the origin story of the Easter Bunny and various traditions surrounding the holiday. And while in many ways similar to the earlier Christmas special, which is still considered a holiday classic, as I spoke about at length in another video, which you can find a link in the description to, the same definitely can't be said for its honorary sequel. And today, I'd like to go over this special and explore why it couldn't achieve the same level of notoriety as Santa Claus is Coming to Town. And there will be spoilers ahead, so in case you'd like to check it out for yourself first and don't want to know what happens, you might want to come back to this video another day. You have been warned. Okay, so as I already said, The Easter Bunny is Coming to Town follows the same basic formula as Santa Claus is Coming to Town, where everybody's favorite mailman explains where the Easter Bunny came from and what inspired many of the traditions associated with the holiday. And there are many suspiciously similar characters as well, such as the Easter Bunny, named Sonny, standing in for Kris Kringle, a town full of kids being similar to the elves, Gadzooks the bear playing the part of the Winter Warlock, and Duchess Lily Lawntooth standing in for Burgermeister Meisterburger, as they all play virtually identical roles. And not to mention, not only is the stop-motion style exactly the same, not that that's a bad thing, but the plot is also remarkably similar too, with an orphan who was raised by a group of eccentric people trekking out into the world and coming across a town that desperately needs their help. Really. The biggest difference between the two in terms of story is that in Santa Claus is Coming to Town, Kris spends the entire special trying to outwit Burgermeister, while Sonny spends most of the Easter Bunny is Coming to Town trying to boost King Brian's confidence to stand up to his aunt, the Duchess. Because even though he outranks her, he's only 8 years old and scared of her, so he lets her make all the decisions, much to the town's detriment. But slight plot deviations aside, it's obvious that this special was made to capitalize on the extreme success of Santa Claus is Coming to Town, which is only made even more evident by the fact that they had Fred Astaire reprise his role from the earlier special. But despite all the similarities it has to Santa Claus is Coming to Town, it just isn't quite able to capture the magic of the earlier special. Because as I explained in the aforementioned video, the Christmas special really does make for the perfect origin story for Santa Claus, and is overall just a lot of fun, which is a major reason why it's still so well known and beloved today. But with The Easter Bunny is Coming to Town, something just doesn't feel quite right about it. Particularly that, especially when compared to the earlier special, a lot of things feel kind of contrived. As in, they were trying to come up with clever reasons for how various Easter traditions came to be, just like in Santa Claus is Coming to Town, but most of it isn't told nearly as well. It's just not that clever. I mean, there is some stuff that's pretty clever, but it's still nowhere near as good as its Christmas equivalent, where every single explanation feels surprisingly plausible and as though it could have actually happened that way in real life, at least to a kid. But here, it doesn't really have that same plausibility factor most of the time. What I'm trying to say is, the Easter Bunny is Coming to Town is never really able to capture the magic and charm that made Santa Claus is Coming to Town a beloved holiday classic. And that mainly comes down to the fact that it's simply not written as clever as the earlier special was. Really, the closest it gets to the magic of the earlier special is in its narration, and that's simply because Fred Astaire hadn't missed a beat despite the 7-year gap between the two specials, and once again kills it with his perfectly sincere and friendly delivery. It was even one of his final roles before retiring, and he got to prove that he still had it all in him at that. But even aside from Fred Astaire's role reprisal, arguably elevating the special, it's not like it's bad when all's said and done. It's just that it can't compare to what they were clearly trying to duplicate. Because simply put, it does have a charm all its own. I mean, it's a story about the Easter Bunny and how he was inspired to give gifts to people, as well as create many traditions surrounding the holiday of Easter, all to help a sad town and young king. And it's not badly told either. It does have a certain appeal to it, especially if one is willing to look at it through the eyes of a child, the importance of which I got into in another video, which you can also find a link in the description too. But the point is, it's not badly made. It's exactly what you would expect from Bass and Rankin, and when looking at it strictly from that perspective, it doesn't disappoint. The problem is that by making it a sequel to and duplicating many elements of Santa Claus is Coming to Town, which is one of the most beloved holiday specials they ever made, it simply set the bar too high and couldn't live up to it, causing many who have seen the special to look on it unfavorably by comparison. But once again, while it may have its own charm, it simply can't compare to Santa Claus is Coming to Town, as one is clearly better made than the other in pretty much every way. So with that unfavorable comparison most will inevitably make in regards to it, it's really no wonder why this special is all but forgotten. Because as I just got through saying, they tied this special in too closely to the Christmas one, to the point that they even had Fred Astaire return as the narrator. And when it couldn't live up to the earlier special, it caused many to view it as worse than it arguably is. Because while it may not be a masterpiece, it's also far from Bass and Rankin's worst effort. And as I noted before, when judging it strictly by their standards, is ultimately a worthy addition to their catalog. But in terms of being an Easter-focused sequel to Santa Claus is Coming to Town, it simply can't compare. Really, if one wants to see a Bass and Rankin Easter special that can stand up amongst their classic Christmas specials, I would recommend checking out their 1971 special, Here Comes Peter Cottontail. But that's a video for another day. Okay, I think I've made my point. So now I'd like to hear what you guys think. Do you believe that the Easter Bunny is Coming to Town's reputation was negatively affected by being so heavily associated with a special that it could never hope to live up to? Or do you believe it isn't all that good and is basically forgotten for a reason? Or had you never even heard of it before watching this video? Whatever the case, please feel free to let me know in the comments below. And please keep in mind that you don't have to agree with any opinions expressed in this video, be they mine or the general consensus. You can feel about the Easter Bunny is coming to town however you want to, and if you think I had it all wrong, that is perfectly fine. And thank you all for watching. It is all really appreciated, and I hope to see you all next time.